Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Morgan and this is my first ever YouTube video. I have been planning to film and I'm so excited to actually be sitting down and filming. I've decided that I'm gonna dedicate my very first video just talking about what landed me here in the first place. I'm going to talk a little bit about my faith journey, a little bit just about me in general. Like I said, my name is Morgan. I'm 22 years old and I am living here in Bali at the moment. I say living because I am quite literally living out of a suitcase and I do not have a return flight home. I have the visa and I'm just taking my life day by day. If you were to ask me why I'm doing this, my answer would be my faith journey, my own inner journey, my own belief system, and what it is that I want to do for my life. Yeah, I planned on making my first video, like doing a vlog. I went to Nusa Penida, it's just an island like right next to Bali. It's beautiful. I totally recommend going there if you ever have the chance to. But I filmed everything in slow motion, so it's a little silly of me. Here I am now. This is officially my first video. Anyway, I need to just tell myself that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I love to do. And a part of the reason why I'm here is because I want to pour my energy into my passions. And I have a lot of love for the job that I left. I left my job to come here to Bali. I've been here before, took myself here for my 22nd birthday, and I completely fell in love with the place. I love this island so much. Transformed my life. It took me from a place of survival mode to heavy beliefs in God. What landed me here is faith, and God quite literally called me here to this island to introduce himself to me in a deeper way. I feel like I've met God, or I've had experiences where God has always been in my life. He's always been guiding me. But when I was living in Miami, and the way I would describe my life living there, I was quite literally living in survival mode. I was living there all on my own. My parents weren't helping me. And I don't say that like, oh, they weren't helping me, poor me. Like, no, like I made the decision to leave them. I was seeking a different life for myself. I could sit here for hours and tell you how all the dots connected, but just to be brief, I was living in Miami, completely on my own for the first time. No roommates. I was the only one taking care of myself. And I found myself living a lifestyle that wasn't so much suiting my soul. I learned how to save money, which is one thing I will congratulate myself on, because when you're the one paying your own bills, you need to be smart with your money. And I knew that I didn't just need to pay my rent, but I needed to save my money. There was something inside me that was telling me to save my money for something bigger. You know, I was thinking at the time, oh, I wanted to move into a different apartment. But 9 months, 10 months later, that time comes around and, oh, I actually don't think I'm supposed to move into the apartment because I haven't even established credit yet. I didn't even have a credit card. But that pushed me to get a credit card. I now have been managing my credit. Anyway, that's like another topic. I was living in Miami and I came here. I didn't know at all what to expect, but I came here to Bali with an open heart, and it completely transformed my life. It transformed my life in almost every single aspect. But the one key takeaway, trust. To trust in God. Ever since I came here back in July, it is now March. Oh my gosh, the time just flies. I had the time to sit with myself and observe my life. Because when I was in Miami, it was go, 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 go all the time. You're in survival mode. You need to pay your bills. You need to eat. And I lived an amazing life there. I'm really proud of myself. I accomplished what I went there for. I did modeling and I showed myself what it's like to live on your own and how to survive. And I never missed a payment with rent. I'm just so grateful that I learned so much. I was 20 when I went there. I turned 21 there. When I mention trust, and I mean, it's not just, oh, like I trust everything's gonna work out. I trust God with my life. There was a moment where I had completely run out of my money. I still had to pay my rent back in Miami, and I decided to extend my trip out here. I fell madly in love, and we're still so in love. He's gonna be here in 2 days. I can't wait to see him. He's amazing. He's my person. I came here originally to pour a bunch of love into myself, but like I said, like I came here with an open heart. I know I need to make a video on how we met because it's just so beautiful. You will know what is from God, 100%. When I met this person, he was like nobody I've ever met in my life. I told him all of my past, all of the things that I was trying to work through, and he was accepting of it. He accepted it. He helped me grow in so many ways. He's pushed me to come here. Not pushed me, but he's always stood by my side. He's always believed in my same dream, and we've been doing long distance. Well, I thought I was just here to completely fall in love with myself, but I fell in love with another person. And of course, while loving myself, but I really found deep love in another person when I came here the first time. And so I took a leap and I extended my trip out here knowing that I had to pay my rent, and it was tricky because you know, you need money to survive, but money's not everything. And let me tell you, no amount of money will ever signify how spiritual you are. It will never justify how spiritual you are. It doesn't define your spirituality. Money is just a possession. Money is just a worldly thing. Man made money, you know? There was this moment. There was this moment in the airport going back to Miami. This is now August of 2024. And I had about $120 US dollars in my bank account. And I didn't have the money to pay for my September rent because I was trusting the process, making decisions that felt very led by God, if that makes any sense. And so I had this moment, and I swear it changed my life because I'm in the airport and I went into the prayer room. There's a prayer room, I think in every airport actually, but this was the first time I've ever went into one. Took off my shoes and I was feeling, I really needed to talk to God at that moment because I was feeling a lot of anxiety and worry because, like I mentioned, I had spent so much time, a year and a half, being financially responsible, always making sure I had the money to pay my rent because that was my responsibility. It was my responsibility to take care of myself. And I didn't have that. And I had just lived this amazing love. You know, I took a leap to experience love. Like real love, the kind that is so ooey gooey. Make me cry. I don't want to cry. I was sitting in the prayer room on my knees, just praying, asking God to help me, to guide me, asking Him for some way, but in the most truthful, honorable way. This is important, to get out of my lease because I still had a few months left. You know, it was August at the time and my lease wasn't over until November. I said this really intense prayer. It was so intense to the point where I'm crying in the prayer room, and I didn't go in there feeling like I had to cry, but what I needed to say to God evoked a lot of emotion out of me. I experienced 40 days of transformation, completely transitioning into a different person than who I was when I originally left Miami and came here the first time. And so I said this prayer, and I flew about 30 hours round trip to get back to Miami. It's so crazy because I just knew that something was wrong. I knew, like inside me, I knew something was wrong. I went home and I opened the door after 30 hours to an apartment completely covered in mold. And in the moment, I was a little terrified. All of my belongings, even my bed sheets, like were covered in mold. All of my furniture, everything was covered in mold. My shoes, my valuables, the place had been eaten by mold. I had left my apartment for 40 days and I came home to an unrecognizable apartment. But you know what? I didn't panic. I called my mom. She's so amazing. She got on a plane and within a few hours she was there. And like I said, I said this prayer. I received so much help. My mom's high school friend happened to live only 30 minutes away, and she hosted me for the time being when I was figuring out all the details with my leasing office and everything. And I think for legal reasons, I can't disclose all the information. Let's just say it worked out better than I could ever imagine. And truly, I give all that credit to God. I had to start my life over again. I moved back home with my parents after seeing my apartment full of mold, and I needed to start over. I needed to start fresh again. So I went back home and I worked at this gym. I love this gym, like hands down. I love the gym. I love it so much. I loved the job, while it lasted, I loved the job. I loved to witness myself learn a new skill. I loved the people I worked with. It was an amazing environment. While I was still embracing all of this transition, it was a place where I could absorb it. I could plan for what was next, for what I really wanted. And then a few months into the job, I had this feeling, this calling. I was like, I need to get back there. I want to go back there. I want to do my YouTube channel. I want to do my content creation. I was feeling a little crazy. So I spent about a week intensely praying, talking to God again, God, if this is not a decision I want to make out of impulse, if this is from you, please speak to me clearly. And the clarity was in my heart. And so I decided to just book myself that one-way ticket. Here I am now, living in Bali, and I couldn't be happier. I'm doing exactly what I feel led to do. I'm filming my YouTube video, I'm creating my content, and I just have all my faith in God.